So talk us through the centrepiece for the debate that has led you to advise striking at this point.
Well, quite simply, the potted history of this is that, like all key workers, we did our duty during the pandemic. We didn't seek a pay rise for 20 or 21. When the cost of living start to increase in 22, we sought a pay rise to find out that our employers had done a deal with the Westminster government not to give us a pay rise. So we now find ourselves in a situation where we've gone half a decade without a pay increase.
Does it get harder to strike again, both just because it's dragging the issue out and obviously something that everyone's uncomfortable to do, with your own issue and your own union, but does it get harder still when other unions, whether it's within your sector or elsewhere, have settled? Or is that not really a relevant comparison?
I think the difficulty is that first thing is nobody wants to be on strike and nobody wants to be losing money. But having said that, everybody wants the right to have a pay rise at some point. And how long do you go without a pay rise? If it's been half a decade, do you go a decade? So the people behind me keep voting 94 to 99% across the whole of the UK for action short of a strike and strike action. And while they continue to do so, we'll continue to articulate their voice.
And does public opinion, have you sensed its change when you're there on the picket line? No doubt you're standing with your fellow union members, but also getting a chance to speak to commuters who are disrupted. Has their response changed at all over, let's say, the last year to the action when it's taken?
Not really. Naturally, you've got some people disgruntled. If you're paying the high fares you're paying in the UK, you're trying to get to your appointments or you're trying to get to work, we understand that that's what happens on a strike day. But having said that, we went through a summer, a winter and a summer of solidarity where virtually every sector, public and private in the country, was out on strike at some time. So there isn't a family in the country that hasn't had somebody that's been impacted by some dispute anywhere, and we've got an awful lot of empathy and sympathy because of that.
Mm-hmm. And does, when the election come into your consideration, come into your consideration at all? Clearly, we're into the sort of final countdown of months. It will be within 5, 6 or so months, almost for certain now. Do you think that might give you a better chance to negotiate a deal, or is that not a factor?
Well, the real problem for us in this dispute and the complexity of it is it's been driven by the Westminster government and the talks they employ. They are disputes with the 16 privateers that we work for. Otherwise, we don't have a legal trade dispute. We've been in no talks with the Labour Party to solve this because it'd get twisted by the right-wing media about union paymasters and all the other crap that we normally get. So quite simply, we'd hope they'd be more sympathetic towards us, but those discussions haven't happened. We need to resolve the dispute with the people that are there as soon as we possibly can.
And do you think chances are high of a resolution to this dispute in the coming months, or not?
I always believe I'm optimistic. I mean, it's been 22 months. The other side have behaved in total bad faith and every time that we have gone round the table with them, but our willingness to return to the table is still there. And we had a soft approach last week to have talks about talks, and we said that we're willing to do so. So there is always some hope.